Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the ECSI closing bell for Tuesday, September 27, 2022. Yes, we're back. Took Monday off, gave Riley the evening off. Short MLB slate in the NFL game. We talked about the NFL on Sunday. Figured we'd come back today, which has been absolutely through the roof for me and the ECSI team. 10:20, Julian Edlow from DraftKings. 1 o'clock, myself and Pops DiBiase, the NFL Bet Exchange Week 4. 3:30, Ron from Ace Sports talking NFL and college. It's supposed to be 4:30. 5:05, apologies, Riley. The closing bell, and at 10:15 tonight, myself, Dave Sharapan, and Brady Tinker will be doing Sportsbook Confessions. Full day. I think that's 5-0. Holy shit. Anyways, a lot to catch up with Riley. We'll go over the weekend, what he saw actually Sunday and Monday quickly in the NFL. We'll dive right into some MLB as we're winding down and Judge's quest for 62, right? 62. 61. It's right. He needs to catch Maris. I think if he doesn't get it in the next few days, MLB will call up one pitcher, says, hey, here's 50 grand. Give him back-to-back meatballs, get him 61 and 62 and get it over with. Wouldn't you want to be the guy that gave him up? I would. I underhand him. But without further ado, let's bring him in. Mr. Southside Riley Magnuson. Afternoon, Riley.
Afternoon, my friend. Happy Tuesday. I am thrilled to be here as always. You mentioned it. We've had plenty of football action since we last talked. We've got a heck of a lot of baseball coming up this next week and a half or so for the final push. So, yeah, you've been a busy guy today, so I won't ramble on too much. We'll get you out of here and ready for your next one that you got going on. But nonetheless, happy to be here, ready to rock and roll with whatever you'd like to go down to, my friend.
Well, I'll just bring up Sunday because you and I haven't talked. I was on numerous shows that talked about the upcoming week, which was going to be the Chiefs and the Packers. And I was on record saying they both went into the field 2-1, which meant your Packers would go into Tampa and win, and the Colts would stun the Chiefs, which they did. Wasn't the prettiest game either side. You know, the changing. You scored 14 points, about to go up 21-3, which you could have turned the game off, and just miraculously, Aaron Jones fumbles. You didn't score the rest of the game, and I didn't think 14 was going to be enough. You were putting so much pressure on Tom, who had no weapons, yet I don't understand this. I get it, no timeouts. I get it. Or he had one timeout in his back pocket, and you're going to play that prevent and just make him march the whole field. But he gets the touchdown, and which should have been a delay game there. So they were watching for that 2-point conversion, and they got him there.
Yeah. And to start there and work backwards, of all the people, and I'll be happy to admit this as a Packer fan myself, of all the people to criticize the delay of game, lack of refs calling it, Aaron Rodgers speaking out about lack of a call there is probably the one guy other than Tom Brady that doesn't have much of a right and probably should keep his mouth shut because he's benefited a few times himself from that lack of a call on that one. But nonetheless, you're right. First half offense looked awesome. Romeo Doubs looked awesome. And you know, Tampa's defense, you know, give them a lot of credit. The one thing that, you know, I have a lot of love for Matt LaFleur and what he's done, and I respect him a lot and have a lot of faith in him. The one thing that you can knock during his era on both ends of the spectrum, we saw it in week one and now the opposite end of the spectrum these last 2 weeks, we really just don't have any, we've had lack of ability of really putting our foot down on someone's throat when the time is right in front of us through the last few years. And then, you know, as I was talking about on the flip side, whenever, you know, we talked about it before this last game, as far as when we get smacked in the mouth, not having that resiliency to fight their way out of it. So, you know, that's really the one knock that I can put on LaFleur. And, you know, going back to the Bears game, I don't remember what the exact score was, but it was a similar situation where driving to go up, I don't know if it was 3 scores or maybe even 4 scores, and then we fumble, and then not only do we let the team back into it, but then we've lost all sense of momentum whatsoever on offense. So, you know, thankfully, these next 4 weeks for the Packers are going to be a really good stretch of figuring out this offense, figuring out where people's roles are, because it's New England, the Giants, the Jets, and the Commanders. Maybe that's not the right order of those 4 teams. But that's the next 4 games. So, perfect stretch to really get things figured out offensively. And you know, I've liked what I've seen for the most part. Defensively, Jair Alexander, I know, got hurt, but maybe he'll miss this week. But it doesn't sound too concerning long term, like last year was, and he missed a lot of the season. But yeah, you know, a lot of optimism. I told you, Rodgers in the state of Florida throughout his career, that's the one spot where he's not really been profitable against the number, had some issues straight up. So just getting out of that game with a win definitely feels nice, going 2-1, like I said, ahead of the stretch that we've got. So a lot of issues, concerns with the second half there, but at the end of the day, feeling pretty positive about the Packers going forward here, from my perspective after that third game there.
You know, there's talks of teams not playing in the preseason, showing rust. There's talks of teams offense that looks great with the scripted plays, then they suck. There's a lack of a sense of urgency, as you stated, stepping on someone's throat. Now, granted, you were within 1 yard. I mean, you got Malachi Crunch,
sure.
to be honest with you.
Right.
He holds on. It's 21-3. That game's over.
Right.
If I and this is because I have Dylan on every team. I was going to go as far as Dylan and Ramondre Stevens take me.
Mm-hmm.
If I am sitting here from Cape Cod, Mass, okay, and I see you run not once, not twice, not three, but 4 times, Dylan and your other back there, brain fart,
Aaron Jones,
lined up like this, and then you run Dylan in motion and you hand it off to Rodgers. You got some positive yards 3 straight times. And then on the 4th time, you got like a 3-yard loss. Now, I kept saying to my buddy Scott, they're setting them up. It's going to go to a swing pass. It's going to go to a wheel route, something, and nothing. You don't need to be setting it up for the damn Patriots.
Yeah.
Brady isn't walking through that building, okay? You got Brian Hoyer. So can you show me, and you're so spot on, this is the NFL where it stands for not for long. How many times already this year have we seen big fourth quarter leads go down to nothing and you lose the game or go to overtime? I don't get it. Riley.
As far as the usage of the 2 running backs, is that what you're saying?
The play calling, the no sense of urgency, we need one more score, however we get it, guys. And you know, I talked till I was blue in the face that you had them beat last year. You were up 10-0. You were on the 50, and you threw the pick 6. They scored 40 straight. He did it again. He did it again on the 50, and it didn't get to a pick 6. They just punted on 3 and out. But you know, I've been waiting for the damn regression from your team. And like you just said, you lost opening week in Minnesota. You win the next 2. You got the Pats with Brian Hoyer. You're 10.5-point favorites. So you're going to go to 3-1. Okay. And then you got 4 Lambs lined up, and we're going to be staring at 7-1 again.
Yeah, no, that's kind of what I mean as far as the next 4 weeks. So I get what you're saying here, because I think this is the best defense we've had since we won the Super Bowl. You know, maybe it's better than that, maybe it's not. I don't know. It's the best defense we've had since then. And you're right. In that game the other day, if Tampa's offense was firing on all cylinders, they would have beaten us in that game. The way the way our momentum stopped there. Fortunately, they've got some offensive issues to figure out on their own, whether they got their health or not. They've got issues to figure out, and our defense kind of took advantage of it. So I get what you're saying totally, and that's where if they didn't have these next 4 games and we were staring at 4 nasty defenses or really good teams, then maybe it would be a different story. But I really think over the next 4 weeks, you're going to see really find our footing offensively is kind of what my the optimist in me says, because there are times where it's head scratching and the final drives when it's we've got AJ Dillon and sometimes you just need a yard or 2 and then you go for a fade route. I know you set it up, but when you watch the guy AJ Dillon run and all you need is a yard or 2, sometimes just hand the ball off to him. I mean, the guy is a bulldozer, and I mean there's obviously that adage that a lot of teams have in quarterbacks, where it's, you've got your stud, give the guy, your stud the ball in your hand, but sometimes running the ball is just a smarter idea. And when you've got the horses to do it, and I think we've got such an awesome complementary two set where, obviously there's been times these last couple of weeks where you're probably salty, or maybe the entire game the last 2 weeks where you're salty that they're not giving A.J. Dillon the ball more. They will once the weather gets colder and he becomes more effective, harder to tackle. That's kind of what the script was last year a little bit. So probably not music to your ears when your fantasy season ended in week 14, 15, you know what I mean? But I think his production will increase a little bit here. I'm surprised they didn't get him going more in the passing game yesterday or on Sunday, whatever it was, kind of how you're alluding to there. So I think it'll even out more. But when someone like Aaron Jones has got a hot hand, they're probably going to ride it a little more, and vice versa. Same thing with A.J. Dillon. If he's got a hot hand, they'll roll with it. But A.J. Dillon's he's a stud, man. So I can understand your feelings, but I think it'll even out for you.
Romeo, again, sometimes it's circumstances. Now he was the sizzle during preseason. He was the guy everyone wanted. The two rooks coming in with was it Walker and Watson? No, Christian.
Christian Watson, offensively at least, yeah.
Yeah. And then drops the wide open touchdown against the Vikings, and then hurt. He was out.
Yeah.
So he came in. He looked very comfortable, and that's big for Rodgers again in that circle of trust. Anyone in the fantasy world, and if this gentleman is out there, go grab him. And that's the tight end, Robert Tonyan. Starting to see them easing him in there. He looked good. Had a couple nice catches. I know he's available in one of mine. Listen, when I'm wheeling out Cole Kmet and, Justin Fields has thrown the ball 13 times in 2 games, and I'm rolling out Hunter Henry, who, so I will be, I'll take my shot that he hits him once in the end zone, but I like what I saw with Tonyan moving forward.
Yeah, I'm just looking. I was trying to pull it up. 36, and this is snap count percentages, weeks 1 through 3. 36, 40, then the other day 58. And obviously there's a couple guys out, but I think up over 50 is what you should expect. And hopefully, for your sake, I've got him on one of my teams as well, fantasy wise. I had him in my Packers blog the other day as far as his over reception total. That went 10 yards over. So I think you should definitely be in that 50% range. I think you'll get a better sense when everyone's healthy and he's 100% healthy what the usage is. But yeah, I think you're right. And I don't think he's found the end zone yet, unless I'm mistaken about the first 2 weeks. Yeah, he hasn't found the end zone yet. So you have to imagine that's going to pick up here soon. And he could be more of a factor in the red zone for you. But I think that's fantastic because the depth of the tight end position fantasy wise is a little tricky this year. So if you've got that fringe, what kind of situation that you just laid out, I've got a couple situations like them. Tonyan is at least upside wise, far better than any of those other options right there.
Baseball, we're winding down to, is it 8 days, right? Next Wednesday, the last official regular season game?
I think you're right. I know a lot of teams technically have 9 games, so I don't know if there's a doubleheader or anything mixed in there.
Maybe it's Thursday then. We got a full slate. You can cherry pick. You can blast through them. The meaningful games, obviously, you can emphasize or whatever, but the board is yours, my friend.
All righty. Yeah, I'm sure I'll kick any of these bad ones to see if you've got anything worth talking about. Otherwise, we'll blast right through them. First one up, I do believe, less than an hour now. Tampa Bay and Cleveland. Cleveland clinched the division. Smoked the White Sox. Ran through the weekend. I do believe they've got 7 straight wins. Can't change their positioning, so I'm interested to hear what if you've got any leans based off momentum here or not. But Tampa half a game ahead of Seattle. They are in the 2 spot there in the wild card, 4 ahead of Baltimore. Kluber versus Bieber in this one. Kluber 7 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned last time out. Bieber has been fantastic lately, 2 earned runs or less, 10 of his last 11 starts, I believe the number is. Any feelings on this one? Are you basing this one off momentum at all, or are you trusting Bieber in this one, or are you staying away altogether?
Well, we have Bieber on our fantasy team. We're 10 points ahead in second place, trying to hold on to that $7,500. So I'm hoping, get him as quick 5 or 6, 6, 7, 8 strikeouts, get the win and get out. I assume, This is not the first time Mr. Kluber has come back to Cleveland and pitched.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't have that right in front of me, but I don't think so.
You know, you would think a sense of urgency from the Tampa side, yet, Vegas being pretty strong with a minus 145. I see it as high as 149 at Circa, 155 at Caesars. So
Yeah.
the Guardians getting a lot of interest.
Yep, I was just looking first 5 minus 155 over here on DraftKings. So I'll keep myself out of it. Cleveland is they're in my nightmares right now as a White Sox fan over here. So I'll let that one be. Ugly game, next one up. If you have any thoughts, please stop me. But Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, Green versus Keller. Moving on, or anything to see here?
I think it's Green's second game back. I know he pitched last week. Am I right on the second game back?
I know he pitched all right last time out. This will be third game back.
Third game back.
Yeah.
I'd be actually interested, believe it or not, in a Reds first 5.
Okay. Green has been solid lately. I think those 2 starts you mentioned, then he's been back 2 earned runs or less or something. My phone's kind of going all over the place. I'm trying to find a first 5 number for you, but I think I'm with you on that one. First 5 minus 120 for the Reds at DraftKings. They got minus 120 for the Reds, minus 110 for the Pirates. So not not giving you the fair split on that one, but I'm interested in what you got going on there.
Yeah, I like Green first 5 there. Keller has shown some times to blow up. I get a little pizza and beer on Reds first 5.
Okay, I can see it. Kansas City and Detroit, another one. If you've got nothing to go, we can blast right through it. Greinke versus Wentz. These 2 teams actually kind of showing some life here the last week or so. Detroit swept my dead White Sox, so take that for what it's worth. Kansas City, 5 of their last 6, they have won, and that's against Minnesota and Seattle, I do believe. So that's a couple teams that, Minnesota also dead, but Seattle still fighting for that last spot. Wentz is a rookie. He's been good. Greinke, 10 hits, 4 earned run last time out. Moving on, or anything to see here?
No, I didn't know Carson Wentz could pitch and then play quarterback. So no, hard pass.
Yeah, and he's soured a lot of people lately, Carson Wentz. So maybe the name is souring you on this one as well. Atlanta and Washington, Muller versus Espino. This one's a little interesting. Atlanta's still a 1 game behind the Mets. This is Muller's first start in the MLB since August 13th. Espino is 0-7. Yet it's only minus 210 and the run line minus 125. Is this a trap spot for the Braves and you've got some value on Washington here? Or am I a little crazy and maybe Atlanta is going to walk through this one?
We're going to sit here and talk next Wednesday or Thursday. And this was the blueprint of the Dodgers chasing the Giants last year. And the same thing is they're not going to catch them. And I mean, you got the Mets minus 200. Against Lopez. So they're either both going to win or they're both going to lose, or Mets win and Atlanta loses. You know what really sucks is the news on Strider and the fact that it sounds like he's going to miss the first round. Now, this is how big it is for Atlanta. Atlanta loses to the Mets in the division. They got to play in that first weekend, and they won't have Strider. So it's in their best interest to win the division and let the Mets play. So you would expect some sense of urgency. I'm assuming it's 4.5 juiced over. What is the Braves team total?
Let's see, 5.5 plus 110.
So they're giving you a 5.5 with an 8.5. So Atlanta, with those numbers, Atlanta run line should be minus 145.
I see minus 125.
Yeah. Go yourself. All right. Now I'll move on.
Okay. I'm with you on that one. I don't know. I kind of like what you're saying as far as maybe Washington, maybe both these teams lose. I don't know if that I'm feeling that crazy, but maybe I take a tiny sprinkle on both of those money lines. I don't know. It's in my head. It's in my head before we even started talking.
If you sprinkle money lines on both of them and one wins, you win a unit. So there's nothing to lose there.
Right. No, totally. That's why I like that strategy with these plus money sometimes. So let's see here. New York and Toronto. You mentioned it. Judge still making the chase. He's at 60, looking for 61. Tyon versus Jose Barrios. Toronto 2.5 ahead of Tampa Bay. They are 3 ahead of Seattle. So they've got the top spot in the wild card right now. Berrios, 2 innings, 7 hits, 6 earned run last time out. Yankees have been, rolled through your Red Sox a little bit here, but I'm interested in your thoughts on the pricing here. The last 4 or 5 days, Yankees in their wins, they've won 4 of their last 5, lost yesterday. Minus 150, minus 240, minus 160, minus 180, all wins during this Aaron Judge chase. Yesterday, they're the underdog and they lose. Is this another trap spot for the Yankees and we should be interested in Toronto, or is Berrios scaring you off here?
Well, I don't know if we'll get Cy Tally on, obviously, but you got Berrios off of a bad start, which is always to jump on him after the bad start. I'd be interested maybe in a little Toronto first 5. And Berrios is a perfect pitcher for Judge to get his homer today. But we'll say that every day. So I'll go Jay's first 5 and Judge homer off of Berrios. How's that?
I don't hate it. I was interested in Toronto, but Judge 6 for 18 lifetime with 1 homer off of Berrios. So a few RBIs. So not terrible numbers by any means there. So I like where your head's at. I was also interested in Toronto there. So next one up, we already talked about a little bit, Miami and the Mets. Lopez versus Carrasco. Carrasco 4 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned. Lopez been good the last 2. Finally bounced back 6 2/3 in each of those starts, 2 and 1 earned run. Kind of the same thing we were talking about. Are you trusting this number, or is this one right here because the Mets are in a chase? Everyone's going to be pouring money on them. High enough to where it's not the biggest liability, but is this still potential trap spot for the Mets here?
Overnight number of 235, corrected number of 204. I do see a 210 to 220 at Caesars. The sharps will be all over Miami and Lopez. You're giving them a potential stud pitcher who, again, can blow up like a wood tick. Carrasco, again, has been solid, also has blown up on occasion. This is the pros versus Joes. The pros will be on Lopez, and the Joes will be on Carrasco and the Mets.
Yep, that was my expectation 100% there. So another interesting one coming to your neck of the woods, Baltimore and Boston. Bradish versus Waka. It is desperation time for Baltimore. The likelihood isn't there, but they're not quite dead yet. Boston 6 straight losses, however, and we're going up against Waka for the Red Sox here. 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned run last time out. Kyle Bradish 8 2/3, 2 hits, 0 earned runs, 10 Ks on 100 pitches versus Houston last time. Yet we're seeing an underdog number here for the Baltimore Orioles. Are you trusting the Red Sox here, or is this Baltimore team a little too unpredictable?
What is Michael Walker's win-loss record?
He is 11-1.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah. No, this was one of the other ones. This one stood right out. I mean, yeah. Kind of the last thing. There's still that bit of Baltimore has been unpredictable. They've kind of kicked some people's ass when they have these types of numbers. But at the end of the day, I'm very interested in the Baltimore Orioles the Boston Red Sox in this one, 100%. So, anything to add, or can we move right on?
I'll go a Raffy Devers homer too. How's that?
I like it. Going to not in my neck of the woods anymore. The White Sox and the Twins, both teams dead. The White Sox have essentially quit on the season. The performance they've put over the last 5 days has been absolutely pitiful. So I don't have too much to say other than that. Actually, you know what? The one thing I did see today, one of my favorite White Sox Twitter stat guys, this is the biggest pitching matchup of the season in terms of the starting pitcher's weight. The combined weight of the 2 pitchers tonight is the biggest matchup that we will have all season long. Aside from that, anything to see here? Anything you like?
I see a flip. I mean, Ober opened up -110. I see Lynn at -119, as high as a -125 at DraftKings. If you were wanted to scratch an itch on the locals, I would grab a Twins first 5. I mean, a White Sox first 5 and call it a day.
Yeah. No, you know what? Lance Lynn would be the one guy where I would expect he isn't going to quit like that, and he's been really good the last couple of months. So, I could see it happening tonight as well. Yeah. I don't have too much nice things to say about the White Sox right now. Phillies and the Cubs. This one is in closer to my neck of the woods. Phillies still fighting for that last wild card spot. Could potentially jump into the second wild card spot as well. Wheeler for the Phillies versus Stroman and the Cubs. Stroman 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned run last time out versus Miami. Wheeler, I think last time out was his first time off an IL stint. 4 innings, 2 hits, 0 earned runs in his return. You trust in the Phillies here in this chase, or would you like this one to be a little bit higher in Wheeler's case, or maybe it's just because he's maybe only going 5 innings tonight?
That's exactly what it is. And I'm seeing an under over overnight, a 7.5 juiced under.
Yeah.
And then a morning line of 7. It's 6.5 over at our friends at South Point and at Caesars. I guess they think it's going to be the real Marcus Stroman.
Yeah.
I don't know if the wind's blowing in or it's going to be a cold night at Wrigley, but they're not expecting a lot of runs. If you want to dive into this game, I would take the Phillies minus the hook first 5.
I'm interested. The weather, yeah, it is getting chilly around here. The wind I was not sure of. I'm showing 14 miles an hour blowing, not 100% in, but kind of, left to right, kind of in a little bit there, and it'll be around 50 degrees during the actual game, and once it gets cold, could be feeling like it's under 50, so it's going to be chilly there for sure. St. Louis and Milwaukee. Milwaukee plays in a dome, so I imagine it might be a little bit toastier in their dome there, unless they keep it open, obviously. But St. Louis and Milwaukee, Mikolas Hauser. This is a 2-game series today and tomorrow. Magic number for the division for the Cardinals is 3, so a win in either of these games would just about clinch it, but obviously it would be a tough hill to climb for the Brewers to get back in this one. But they are 1.5 back of the Phillies that we just talked about a second ago. 3 back of San Diego, I do believe. Hauser for the Brewers, 4 2/3, 3 hits, 0 earned run last time out. Mikolas, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 unearned run versus the Padres last time out. Anything? We obviously got the 700th home run for Pujols. A lot of people loving the Cardinals right now. Anything to see here? You leaning either which way in this matchup?
You would expect some desperation on the Milwaukee part. The total did go from 8 to 8.5. And it's actually juiced over, which is kind of surprising. Wow. Do you have tomorrow's matchups?
It is Woodruff for the Brewers and I already forgot. It's Woodruff for the Brewers, I know though. And then Quintana for the Cardinals. Quintana versus Woodruff tomorrow.
Custard's last stand, small lean on Milwaukee.
Okay. Well, before we move on, as far as the Phillies and the Brewers and that chase is concerned, Brewers, all of their games remaining are at home. The Phillies, all of their remaining games are on the road. Any faith given that the Brewers are going to catch them, or do you think who do you got coming out of that last wild card spot?
Well, let me ask you the question: who does the MLB want?
Well, we've already talked about that. It is the Phillies, that's for sure. The Brewers after the Cardinals to get Miami and Arizona in their home building, though.
I mean, the only thing that could kill them, obviously, is the back end for the Phillies. They got Wheeler back. They still have Nola. So I was talking to a few of our colleagues, and they're talking about that if they get in, they are dangerous. They do have 2 guys up front, but their back end is just so hideous. I mean, I would rather have Steve Carlton back there in the 9th than what they have right now. So I just think the Phillies find a way. Once Milwaukee traded Hader, which was they thought they were doing the right thing. Devin Williams has been okay, but their offense, the lack of power from Yelich, Renfro's had a good year. It just they'll be the team. They'll be the talk of the town next spring. How's that sound?
Yeah. No, I think I'm with you on that one. 5 games, 5 games left for the night. Arizona and Houston is the next one up. Houston, I believe, 7 games ahead of the Yankees. Their position as number 1 seed is pretty close to solidified here. Davies versus Garcia. Garcia last time out, 5 innings, 2 hits, 0 earned runs versus Tampa. Davies, 3 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned versus LA Dodgers. Anything to see here, or are you moving right along from this one?
Did someone get scratched and they moved Garcia in? I got him in red.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm honestly not totally sure.
Again, I don't know any sense of urgency or whatever. Maybe for pizza and beer, I'd go over the 8.5, maybe just to scratch an itch. That's about it.
Sure. Yep, I'm leaving this one on the table. Verlander tomorrow for the Astros. So, Oakland and the Angels. Obviously, an ugly game. Caprillion versus Sandoval. You and I've had some faith in Sandoval at different points this year. Are you trusting them tonight, or are you moving right on from these two teams?
I think I was in Vegas in July, and there was a power move with Sandoval on a day game, and I ran to the window
Yeah,
two-fisted, and I limped back to my
yeah.
seat and room by the end of that. It was just, I think they scored 4-2, and I was like, this is a win, and they gave up 3. It was ugly. So hard pass.
Yeah, hard pass for me. He's in my I didn't win as much money as I'd like to off of him this year, but I respect what he did in his efforts this year. How about that?
I'll second that.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the more confidence without any cashing bets on my side of things there in his pitching efforts this year. Dodgers and San Diego, next one up. Dodgers, I already mentioned it. Game and a half up, I believe, of Phillies, 3 ahead of the Brewers. Anderson versus Snell. Snell, 7 innings, 2 hits, 0 earned run, 13 Ks last time versus St. Louis. Anderson, 6 innings, 2 hits, 3 unearned versus the Arizona Diamondbacks. Riding the hot hand with Snell, or are you feeling a regression spot for him in this one?
I think people will ride Anderson. Is this his first game back, second game back?
Let's see. No, this is let's see. He pitched last time out September 20th. He did pitch.
All right. I think he'll get, he's in that 4 or 5 inning range. I'm going to take the hot hand in the sense of urgency. I think the Padres get the W.
Okay. I think I'm with you on that one. Yeah, when he's rolling, he's rolling. But when the wheels fall off, the wheels do fall off.
And I'll go Manny Machado homer.
Okay. Oh, you know what? I forgot to give out I had my Goldie bomb in St. Louis, Milwaukee. Goldschmidt, 8-27 lifetime versus Hauser with 3 bombs and 10 RBIs. The pricing was a little higher than I expected for Goldschmidt. He's got a little bit of a few week home run drought though, so maybe that's what that is. But the number was like 450, kind of turned me away a little bit, a little too high. A little too good to be true there. But 8 for 27, 3 bombs. He's due for a homer. I'll stick with it. How about that?
I got you
there. Two remaining on the slate today. Texas and Seattle. Seattle, where are they at right now? Seattle is in that wild card spot. They're 3.5 up of Baltimore right now, half game behind Tampa. Jesus Tinoco for Texas versus Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray, 6 innings, 3 hits, unearned run last time out. Texas, I assume, is a bullpen day unless somebody knows something that I don't about Tinoco here. Concerned for Seattle? Would you like this to be minus 300 in the spot that they're in, trying to lock this one down with Robbie Ray on the mound?
Yeah, you're supposed to get some regression from Ray. I talked to a colleague the other day, and before we even have the brackets and stuff, who's coming out of the AL, he said Seattle. And he goes, only obviously if J-Rod is in the lineup. But, the confidence of them wheeling out Ray, Castillo, and Gilbert, and just the way their back end has been, he considers them the most dangerous team in the American League right now.
Okay. No, I'm with you. They're really freaking good. I'm hoping they end their drought. They're probably on my with the White Sox out. They're probably on my list of teams I'll be rooting for. So, I don't know. They're kind of pricing you out of that one. Over 1.5 in the first 5 for the Texas Rangers at plus 115.
I can see that. I can see that.
I like that.
How about a Corey Seager home run, 2-run homer for you?
I was thinking that was my backup if you mentioned Goldie or if we didn't like the Goldie odds there. I think he was around 4-1, and not quite the same name as Goldie. So that was my backup option there was Seager. So Marquez for the Rockies and Logan Webb for the Giants is the last one up. Rockies may be limping to the finish line. They struggled last week at home, which is uncharacteristic. They did finish above 500 at home for the season, 41-40. But they'll be on the road against the Giants, who showing some signs of life the last few days. Not quite limping to the finish, obviously not playing for anything. But Webb 5 1/3, 1 hit, 0 run last time out at Colorado. And Marquez 5 innings, 9 hits, 3 on runs last time at home versus the San Francisco Giants. You moving right along from this one, or you've got any value either which way between these two teams?
I think the number's short. I think the number they want the San Fran money. So I'm going to sprinkle as my dog of the day, Marquez in Colorado.
I was interested in it. What really scared me off is just the way they, played the last week. But I think I'm with you. This was one that definitely interested me. If I've got the late night itch, maybe I'll jump in with you. But I left that one on the desk for now. But I believe that is just about everything we've got for the MLB slate, my friend. Anything else to add before we get out of here?
No, again, the MLB slate, people want to scratch an itch. They played all the people that had the Giants last night. I would say, and all the people that had the under or the over, because it depends on when time you bought it. They you get out of the weekend and you played 28 games, and then you come to Monday, you only get the one game, and now you're a Tuesday. You're like, what can I bet? And you can go and bet some ping pong if you want. I don't know. So there's a handful of games out there with some meaning, and the rest you just X straight through as we did it. So, we got ourselves 8 more days, 9 more days, and then we're going to have a blast for the next month. The World Series goes into November, so it's going to be fun, especially if it's an outdoor team. If Houston doesn't get there, for instance, if it is the Mariners, if it is the Yankees, and then hate to see it again if it was the Mets, or someone again with no dome or no LA warm weather. It won't be the Padres, but
no, I'm or St. Louis. I mean, maybe you don't think what. So if I meant to stop us there. If Atlanta is the wild card team, they're hosting St. Louis, right?
Atlanta hosts St. Louis, and then...
Or no, I'm sorry. St. Louis would host Atlanta, right? Because St. Louis would be the third division winner.
St. Louis hosts Atlanta, and then who do the Padres play?
The Padres would play... They would travel to the Mets. Or I might be way off on this.
No,
I might be way off in the new setup here.
No, LA and Mets would have
the Dodgers get a bye, don't they?
LA and the Mets would get a bye, right?
Okay. I might just be way off on the new format here. I might have to do my
Who are the wild cards again?
You've got the Braves right now, and then the Padres and Phillies.
Okay.
So 2, 7, 3, 6, 4, 5.
So
the Braves would host. I hope I'm would the Braves host that next wild card team then if it's 4-5?
Okay,
who's 2, 7, 3, 6, 4, 5.
So the Braves would have to host.
They would host. Jeez, I'm gonna look it up. I'm way off here. I'm sorry.
Who's the last one? Oh, who's the last one in?
The Phillies are right. The 7th seed.
So they host the Phillies.
Jeez, I hope I'm not messing this up royally here. Let's see. I don't know. I think I might have messed this up. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this up.
Can you Google MLB Playoff Brackets? Maybe it's up.
Let's see. Okay, so the current playoff bracket in the American League, the 1 seed gets the bye. That's right. So, and the 2 seed gets the bye. So you were right about that. So St. Louis would host Philly. The Braves would host the Padres. So there we go. Yeah.
And then what about in the American League?
And then in the American League, Houston and the Yankees get the bye. Cleveland would host Seattle, and Toronto would host Tampa Bay right now. But I think those teams are real close.
Wow. And that's what sucks is that Seattle, Cleveland, and you say Cleveland hosts them, right?
Yep, Cleveland's hosting whoever's that 6th seed there.
The 2 teams that I would want to root for.
I was putting another team in the playoffs. I was going 7 teams. It's not 7 teams. So I apologize for butchering that royally, but so when the Braves would go, Braves would host San Diego, St. Louis, and Philly. Okay, that makes more sense. But anyway. Sorry for derailing us there.
No, no football on Wednesday. We'll have football on Thursday. Tomorrow at 1:00, we'll have Andrew McGinnis from Wager Talk, and then we'll try to get back to around that 4:30. You and I in the closing bell. Scotty Webb reached out. They're shutting his place down for the next few days, so it's going to be a Cat 3 in Florida. So They're going to batten down the hatches, open up the garage, and have a hurricane party, which God bless you. But we'll see. So anyone in Florida listening and watching, can you batten the hatches down and get your asses out of Dodge?
Yeah.
Get your
I've
ass
got the tornado advice over here in Illinois. I don't have the hurricane advice. I've gone to Florida during hurricane time and had no idea what the hell to do. So I'm the wrong person to ask. Tornadoes, I gotcha.
Yeah, I've actually lived through one a mile away. We were in Kentucky when I was 7 in a mobile home trailer area, and a mile down the road, all the trailers were on their flip side, and it just hail signs of softballs. It was scary shit, especially when you're 7 years old.
Yeah,
I didn't
it's
know
no good.
joke. No.
It's no good.
All right, so tomorrow, Andrew McGinnis at 1, me and Riley back around 4:30 on Thursday and Friday. We will play by ear. I'll be reaching out to you for the closing bell. I don't know what Scotty's schedule will be. Obviously, if something comes up to you, reach out. If you get those freebies for the White Sox games, unless they're all done at home.
I think they got their final series is against the Twins, but unless I get a free ticket, I've gone to my last game there this year.
From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from the one and only Riley Magnuson at Riley_Magnuson. We wish everyone a blessed day. Have some fun with the MLB. You got some home run props from us, a couple first fives. I do like the Padres full game there. That's probably one of the only few I like full game. So have a blast, guys, and we'll see you bright and early in the morning.